The morning sunlight filters through my half-drawn blinds, casting a warm glow across the small homemade cake I baked last night. I smooth my hands over the simple blue dress I've chosen for today, me birthday. 22 years old. Not exactly a milestone, but still worth celebrating. At least, that's what I tell myself. My phone sits silent on the counter beside a framed family photo taken 3 summers ago at Lake Winnebago before I moved out, when I still believed things might change. Mom's arm is draped around Jacob's shoulders. Dad's hand rests on his back. I'm standing slightly apart, smiling too widely, as if I could close the gap through sheer determination. The calendar on my wall has today's date circled in red, a hopeful mark I made weeks ago. I check my phone for the 100th time this morning. No messages. No missed calls. Not even from Mom, who used to wake me with birthday pancakes when I was little. It's fine, it's still early. We're meeting for dinner at Rosario's mom's favorite Italian place. She wouldn't forget that. I pick up my phone, hesitate, then tap out a message to our family group chat. Hey, what time are we meeting for dinner tonight? I press send, then hold my breath. 3 dots appear, then disappear. Nothing. Minutes tick by. I water my kitchen herbs. Check my email. Straighten already straight picture frames. Still nothing. Maybe they didn't see it. Maybe they're busy. Maybe. I type again, fingers slightly less steady. Mom, Dad, just checking about tonight. The silence stretches into afternoon. My stomach tightens into a familiar knot. I felt this before at my high school graduation, when they spent the ceremony whispering about Jacob's middle school science fair win, at my college awards banquet when they left early for his baseball game. But not today. Not my birthday. I press call before I can talk myself out of it. My heart pounds as the phone rings once, twice, 3 times. Oh, hey Sarah, what's up? Mom's voice sounds casual, distracted. Something cold settles in my chest. Hi, Mom. I was just checking about dinner tonight. Dinner? There's a pause. Too long, too telling. Oh, honey, I should have told you earlier. I grip the counter's edge, already knowing what comes next. We're taking Jacob out tonight to celebrate. The breath leaves my lungs in a silent rush. But it's my birthday. Is that today? Her voice rises in fake surprise. I know it's fake because I heard her genuine surprise last week, when Dad brought home flowers, the sharp intake of breath, the unguarded delight. This is different. This is theater. From somewhere in the background, I hear Jacob laugh. Tell her we'll bring leftovers. My vision blurs. Not from tears I won't cry. Not this time, but from a sudden, clarifying anger. This wasn't forgetfulness. This was choice. Right, I say. My voice eerily calm. Jacob's scholarship dinner. Oh, you remembered. Mom sounds relieved, as if I've handed her the perfect excuse. We meant to include you, sweetie, but reservations were limited and… It's fine. The words escape through clenched teeth. Have a good night. I'm 16 again, watching Mom brush Jacob's hair before his class picture while I drive myself to school. I'm 18, at graduation, as they rush past my honor cords to congratulate my brother on making junior varsity. I'm 21, helping them move Jacob into his dorm at Dad's alma mater while they reminisce about legacy traditions. 6 months ago, I moved out, still foolishly hoping distance might make their hearts grow fonder. Still making the effort to call weekly, to show up for Sunday dinners, to maintain the fiction that we're a normal, loving family. What a waste of hope. I stare at my reflection in the microwave, door cheeks flushed, eyes too bright. Slowly, deliberately, I reach behind my neck and unclasp the silver necklace Mom gave me last Christmas. It wasn't chosen for me, it was the same one she gave my cousin Bethany and my Aunt Lisa. Practical. Efficient. 1 gift, 3 women checked off her list. I place it on the counter and turn away. My phone buzzes with a text, but it's not from my parents, it's from Daniel. Happy birthday, can't wait to see you tonight. Daniel, whose eyes light up when I enter a room, whose parents asked for my favorite cake flavor last week in what I now realize wasn't casual conversation. I delete the pleading text I'd started drafting to my parents. My hands tremble slightly as I call Daniel instead. When he answers, I'm surprised by the strength in my voice. Hey, do you have plans tonight? They're celebrating Jacob tonight instead. The words catch in my throat as I grip the phone tight against my ear. Through the window, I watch a cardinal land on my small balcony railing, vibrant red against the fading afternoon light. What? Daniel's voice sharpens. I can picture his brow furrowing, the way it does when something doesn't make sense. It's your birthday today. Apparently that didn't make the priority list. I fight to keep my voice steady, but it wavers like a candle flame in a draft. Mom thought Jacob's scholarship dinner was more important. Daniel's silence on the other end speaks volumes, followed by a controlled exhale. I'm coming to get you. Right now. No, I'm fine. Sarah. The firmness in his voice stops my automatic deflection. You shouldn't be alone on your birthday. I'm already grabbing my keys. My first instinct is to protest further. I don't want pity. I've spent years carefully crafting the appearance that everything is fine, that my family's neglect doesn't cut bone deep. But something inside me, something that's been building for 22 years, finally cracks. Okay, I whisper. By the time Daniel's gentle knock sounds at my door, I've pulled out a box of old family photos from under my bed. I'm sitting cross-legged on the floor, staring at a Christmas picture from 3 years ago. I'm half cropped out of the frame, while Jacob stands center, arms wrapped around Mom's shoulders. Daniel takes one look at me and drops to his knees beside me, wrapping his arms around me without a word. I thought maybe I was overreacting, I say after a moment, reaching for my phone. So I check the family calendar. I open the shared digital calendar that Mom insisted we all use to stay connected. I scroll to today's date, then back several weeks. There it is. Jacob's celebration dinner, 7 p.m. Rosario's entered 23 days ago. They didn't forget, I say, my voice hollow as understanding crystallizes. They chose. Daniel takes the phone gently, scrolling through past events. His jaw tightens as he notices what I'd shown him before Jacob's basketball games marked as everyone attend, while my college honors ceremony had merely been labeled Sarah's school thing. Look at these texts, I continue, feeling a strange calm as I finally allow myself to see the pattern I've denied for so long. I show him message after message my graduation announcement met with, we'll try to make it. Jacob's junior varsity success met with, we're so proud. Family celebration dinner. This isn't right, Sarah, Daniel says, his voice quiet but filled with unmistakable anger. This isn't what family does. I look up at him, at the genuine outrage in his eyes on my behalf, and something shifts inside me like tectonic plates, finally releasing years of built-up pressure. My parents have been asking about you, he continues softly. They noticed you weren't at Sunday dinner last week. I hesitate. Daniel's family has always been kind to me, but accepting their help feels like admitting my own family doesn't want me, like confirming out loud what I've known in my heart for years. I don't need a charity birthday, I say, even as I recognize the defensive edge in my voice. Daniel cups my cheek in his palm. It's not charity. They care about you. They've been asking when they could meet you for dinner anyway. The contrast is stark. Daniel's parents noticing my absence from one meal, while my own parents planned a celebration without me on my birthday. Slowly, I reach behind my neck and unclasp my mother's necklace again, setting it deliberately on the coffee table. Let me get changed, I say. 20 minutes later, we pull into Daniel's parents' driveway. I've replaced my birthday dress with jeans and a soft blue sweater, not special occasion attire, but comfortable. Armor of a different kind. Before we reach the door, it swings open, revealing Daniel's mother, Martha, her face lighting up when she sees me. Happy birthday, sweetheart. We've been planning something special. She envelops me in a hug that smells of vanilla and fresh flowers. It's immediate, genuine, and without hesitation, nothing like the stiff, obligatory hugs my mother offers at major holidays. Behind her, Daniel's father, Robert, appears holding a small, beautifully wrapped package. 22, right? We wanted to get you something meaningful. The gift is a beautiful leather-bound journal, my initials embossed in the corner. Not identical to every other gift they've given, but chosen specifically for me. Thank you, I manage, my throat tight. This is perfect. My phone remains stubbornly silent in my pocket as Daniel's parents usher us toward their car. They've made dinner reservations at Bellini's, an upscale Italian restaurant I've mentioned wanting to try. The restaurant is warm and inviting white tablecloths and soft lighting, fancy without being intimidating. Robert orders champagne as soon as we're seated, insisting on a proper toast. To Sarah, he says, raising his glass. Not just to your birthday, but to your future. We're excited to see where your talents take you. Martha adds, and to finally getting to know the young woman Daniel talks about so glowingly. They ask about my new job, my apartment, my dreams for the future, genuine questions followed by attentive listening. No one interrupts to mention Jacob's accomplishments. No one checks their watch or glances at their phone. As the waiter brings dessert, a slice of tiramisu with a single candle, I feel words forming that I've never allowed myself to speak aloud. I think I've been looking for family in the wrong place. Daniel's mom insists on one more photo. Just the two of you by the fireplace. She waves us into position, then steps back to frame the shot. Perfect. I smooth my blue dress, the same one I'd worn this morning, when I still believed my family might remember me, and lean into Daniel's side. His arm settles around my waist, solid and present. Smile, his father calls. The camera flash catches us mid-laugh, another memory preserved. Back at Daniel's house, we settle on the couch while his parents bustle in the kitchen, making coffee and plating the small cake they'd surprised me with at the restaurant. The evening wraps around me like a warm blanket, the gentle clicking of dishes, the soft murmur of conversation, the absence of that familiar knot in my stomach. We should take a picture to remember tonight, Daniel says, pulling out his phone. I freeze. Oh, I can take it. Not this time. He shifts closer, holding his phone at arm's length. You're going to be in these photos, birthday girl. The realization stings. I've spent years documenting everyone else's celebrations. Mom directing me to get a good one of Jacob blowing out candles. Dad handing me his phone to capture family moments I was never truly part of. Daniel's parents return with coffee and cake, but before we dig in, his mother takes more photos, Daniel and me, just me, all four of us with the timer. When she shows me the results, something catches in my throat. I'm smiling. Not the stretched, camera-ready smile I've perfected for family gatherings, but something real. My eyes are bright. I look happy. Send those to me, I ask, my voice smaller than I intend. Later, when Daniel's parents have retired for the night and we're alone in the living room, I scroll through the evening's photos. The contrast is stark. In Daniel's family photos, I'm centered, visible, celebrated. In my own family albums, I'm a ghost either behind the camera or standing slightly apart, smiling too widely, always reaching. 22 years of trying to be seen. 22 years of making excuses. They're just busy. Jacob needs more attention right now. They show love differently. Family is complicated. My fingers hover over Instagram. I rarely post personal content. What would be the point? My family rarely engages, and I've spent years curating a light, uncontroversial feed that wouldn't embarrass them. But tonight, something shifts inside me, like a gear finally clicking into place after years of grinding. You okay? Daniel asks, returning from the kitchen with water glasses. Just thinking. I tap my screen, creating a new story. I select one of the photos from dinner, Daniel's arm around my shoulders, his parents flanking us, my genuine smile. I've never looked more myself. The caption takes 4 attempts. I delete each draft, second-guessing every word. Too bitter, too desperate, too revealing. Finally, I type, huge thank you to Daniel and his amazing family for making my birthday special. So grateful to have people who actually care about me. My thumb hovers over the share button. Years of family training kick in: don't make waves, don't embarrass us, keep family business private. Is this too much? I show Daniel the screen, that familiar doubt creeping in. He reads it twice, then meets my eyes. It's just the truth, Sarah. Just the truth. Not an attack, not a tantrum, just the simple, unvarnished truth. I hit share before I can talk myself out of it. The post appears in my stories, its 24-hour countdown beginning. My stomach tightens momentarily, then relaxes. There's something freeing about finally saying out loud what I've known for years. My phone pings almost immediately. A heart from my college roommate, then another notification, and another. Happy birthday, Sarah. You deserve to be celebrated. You look beautiful. Hope it was special. I remember when you turned 10 and brought cupcakes for everyone. You've always been thoughtful. I blink at this last one, Mrs. Henderson, my 5th grade teacher. I haven't spoken to her in years, yet she remembers a detail about me that my own parents would likely forget. More messages arrive, former classmates, neighbors, a cousin on my mother's side, who I see at holidays but rarely speak to. Glad you had people to celebrate you properly. You deserve the best, always. Beautiful picture, happy birthday. The validation washes over me in waves. I'm not crazy. I'm not selfish. Other people see what I've been denying for so long. Look at all these messages, I murmur, showing Daniel my phone. He squeezes my hand. People care about you, Sarah. A lot of people. For an hour, the notifications continue likes, messages, birthday wishes. I respond to each one, feeling lighter with every exchange. Daniel and I move to the kitchen for more cake, talking about nothing and everything. For the first time all day, I don't check for messages from my family. Then my phone buzzes with a different tone. A text message. What is this post, Sarah? Mom. Before I can process this, another message arrives. Dad this time. Are you serious right now? Then Jacob. Way to be dramatic. My phone begins ringing. Mom's face fills the screen. I stare at it, remembering all the times I've answered immediately, afraid of disappointing her further. The second call comes 15 seconds after the first ends. Then a third. Daniel watches me carefully. You don't have to answer. I know, and for the first time I truly do know that. I silence the ringer and set the phone face down on the counter. 5 minutes later, I pick it up again. 7 missed calls, 12 text messages, a family group chat in meltdown. I take a deep breath and hit call back. When Mom answers on the first ring, her voice is tight with controlled fury. Finally, what do you think you're doing with that post? People are calling me. Without warning her, I tap the speaker button and place the phone on the counter between Daniel and me. His presence steadies me as I prepare to speak my truth for the second time tonight. Hi, Mom, I say calmly. I was just thanking the people who remembered my birthday. Delete it, now. Dad's voice in the background. They must be on speakerphone, too. This is completely inappropriate, Sarah. I catch Daniel's eye. He nods encouragement. No, I say, the single word feeling foreign and powerful in my mouth. I don't think I will. I sit perfectly still in Daniel's living room, my mother's voice filling the speaker of my phone. My hands tremble slightly against my thigh, but my voice remains steady, a small victory. I cling to like a life raft in choppy waters. What the hell are you doing, Sarah? People are seeing this. Mom's voice is pitched higher than normal, that special tone reserved for public embarrassments and social faux pas. Daniel sits beside me, close enough for support, but giving me space to fight my own battle. His parents have tactfully retreated to the kitchen, though I can see them through the doorway near enough to step in if needed, far enough to offer privacy. I chose this battlefield deliberately surrounded by witnesses who care about me, not isolated where I could be more easily manipulated. What am I doing? I repeat, surprised by the calm in my voice. I'm thanking the people who actually showed up for my birthday. Take that post down. Now. Dad's voice cuts in, his barely controlled anger vibrating through the speaker. He must have grabbed the phone from Mom. You have no idea how this could affect your future, Sarah. My phone buzzes with incoming texts. Jacob. Mom and Dad are furious. What were you thinking? Another one follows immediately. You're making this way bigger than it needs to be. What strikes me most is what they're not saying. Not one of them has said, "I'm sorry we forgot your birthday." Not one mention of how I might feel. Their concern centers entirely on appearance show. This makes them look to friends and extended family. I'm not taking it down, I say, the words falling from my lips before I can second guess myself. I posted the truth. Daniel's family made my birthday special when you chose to celebrate Jacob instead. Sarah Elizabeth Winters. Dad's voice drops dangerously low. There will be consequences if you continue this childish behavior. The silence stretches between us. Daniel reaches over, his hand covering mine, steadying the trembling. What consequences? I finally ask, my voice clearer than I expected. You've already shown me where I stand. We're coming over, Dad announces abruptly. This conversation isn't happening over the phone. I catch Daniel's eye. He nods slightly, squeezing my hand. That's fine, I say. I'm at Daniel's. His parents are here too. The long pause that follows tells me everything. They expected me to be alone, vulnerable, malleable. We can discuss this tomorrow. Mom interjects smoothly. When you're thinking clearly, sweetie. The endearment lands like a slap. How convenient that she remembers to use it now. No, I say firmly. If you want to talk, come now. Otherwise, we have nothing to discuss. 43 minutes later, they arrive. Mom's smile is brittle as she exchanges pleasantries with Daniel's parents in the entryway. Dad stands stiffly beside her, his eyes darting around the well-appointed home as if seeking tactical advantages. We'd like to speak with our daughter privately, Dad announces, not quite making it a question. Daniel's father, a man I've known less than a year, but who remembered my birthday without prompting steps slightly forward. Sarah is welcome to have privacy if she wants it, he says, but she's also welcome to have support here. Family matters should remain within the family. Dad counters, his jaw tightening. Sarah is like family to us, Daniel's father replies evenly. She's welcome to have support. Mom's face flushes. The script is slipping away from them, the one where they arrive, overwhelm me with authority, and leave with my compliance secured. I can see it in their eyes, the dawning realization that they've stepped onto unfamiliar terrain. Sarah, sweetheart, Mom tries again, her voice honeyed with forced affection. We just want to understand what's upset you so much. The question is so disingenuous, it almost makes me laugh. You really don't know? I ask quietly. You forgot my birthday to celebrate Jacob instead. That's not fair, Dad begins. You didn't forget, I interrupt, surprising myself. The dinner for Jacob was planned weeks ago. I checked the family calendar. You chose to exclude me on my birthday. We were going to celebrate with you this weekend. Mom insists, but her eyes slide away from mine. No, you weren't, I say, the certainty burning through me like a fever breaking. This is just what you always do. Jacob first, me as an afterthought, if at all. The room falls silent. In their faces, I see something I've never witnessed before, the uncomfortable recognition of a truth they can no longer deny, at least not to themselves. For the first time in my life, they see me, and I see them too clearly, finally, completely. Daniel's living room feels like a courtroom. The air is thick with tension, almost visible in the late afternoon light filtering through beige curtains. I sit with my spine straight against the firm cushions of the sofa, my hands resting in my lap still, not fidgeting. Across from me, Mom and Dad stand awkwardly by the fireplace mantel, refusing the seats offered by Daniel's parents before they discreetly stepped into the kitchen. Mom adjusts her pearl necklace, the one she wears to important client dinner sand, attempts a smile that doesn't reach her eyes. Sarah, honey, this is all a misunderstanding. We were actually planning to surprise you this weekend. Dad stands with his feet slightly apart, hands clasped before him like he's addressing a difficult client. This social media tantrum needs to end now. You're damaging our family's reputation. My phone buzzes again on the coffee table between us. Jacob's texts are still coming through. I deliberately pick up the phone, turning the screen so they can all see his latest message. Tell Mom and Dad I'm heading to Ryan's place. Don't wait up. Some celebration, I say, my voice steadier than I expected. Mom's eyes immediately well with tears. Right on cue, the same performance I've seen at charity functions when she needs to appear moved by someone's generosity. After everything we've done for you, Sarah, the opportunities we've given you, the support, your grandmother's inheritance fund could be reconsidered. Dad cuts in, his voice cool and businesslike. Financial decisions require maturity and family loyalty. The words hang in the air like a revelation. Money. It's always been about money. Every birthday check, every tuition payment, every gift that came with invisible strings. We've always supported you more than Jacob. Mom insists, dabbing carefully at her eyes to avoid smudging her mascara. He just needed more attention because of his special qualities. A strange calm settles over me. Name one thing. I say, my voice quiet but clear. Name one accomplishment of mine that you celebrated properly. The silence stretches between us, punctuated only by the distant sound of dishes being deliberately washed in the kitchen, Daniel's parents giving us privacy while remaining close enough to intervene if needed. My high school graduation, you spent the ceremony whispering about Jacob's science fair project. I hold up one finger. My college awards banquet, you left early for his baseball game. Another finger. My first job offer, you asked if I'd considered waiting for something better while planning Jacob's graduation party a year in advance. A third finger. I unlock my phone, scrolling through my calendar and showing them. You didn't forget my birthday. You scheduled Jacob's scholarship dinner on the same day, just like you've scheduled something for him during every important day of my life. That's not forgetfulness. That's choice. I turn the phone toward them again, displaying a photo album I've kept. Empty chairs at my events, half-eaten celebration cakes, solo photos where family should be standing beside me. You're twisting everything! Mom's voice rises, the polite veneer cracking. These are isolated incidents that you're connecting to create a false narrative. Dad steps forward, his jaw tight. If you want to remain part of this family, you'll delete that social media post and stop this ridiculous performance. That's just it. I feel something break free inside me, not breaking down, but breaking through. I've never really been part of the family, have I? I've been the audience, the photographer, the cheerleader, never the celebrated. I reach into my bag and pull out a small, leather-bound journal. I started keeping track 3 years ago. Every forgotten milestone, every canceled plan, every celebration cut short because of Jacob. It's all here. Mom's eyes widen at the physical evidence of my pain, tangible proof that can't be dismissed as emotional exaggeration. I won't pretend anymore. I continue, my voice gaining strength. Either acknowledge how you've treated me, or leave me alone. Those are your choices now, not mine. Dad's face flushes with anger, the way it does when a business deal goes south. You'll regret this when you need us, Sarah. Don't come crying back when real life gets difficult. Sarah, Mom hisses, glancing toward the kitchen where Daniel's parents are barely pretending not to listen. People are watching your story online. What will everyone think? Daniel moves from his position near the doorway to sit beside me, not touching but close enough that I feel his steady presence. I hope they are watching, I say, meeting first her gaze, then Dad's. Maybe it will help someone else speak up. The shock on their faces is almost worth the years of pain the moment they realize they've truly lost control of the narrative. That the dutiful, invisible daughter they could count on to stay quiet has found her voice, and others are finally listening. Dad checks his watch, a nervous habit, when he's lost the upper hand. Mom's fingers twist around her pearls. For the first time in my life, they don't know what to say to me. For the first time, I don't rush to fill the silence with apologies. I simply wait, breathing in the unfamiliar sensation of standing in my truth while they scramble to rewrite it. But some stories can't be edited once they've been told, and mine finally belongs to me. The morning light streams through curtains. I chose myself bold teal patterns that would have horrified my mother's beige sensibilities. 1 month since my birthday, and my apartment finally feels like me. No more generic decorations chosen to avoid criticism. No more muting myself. I run my fingers over the beautiful leather journal from Daniel's parents, displayed prominently on my bookshelf alongside the artisan tea set his sister gave me. Simple gifts, thoughtfully chosen. The kind that say, I see you. My phone buzzes with a calendar reminder. I no longer flinch when it lights up. I filtered my contacts, removed the family group chat. The constant knot in my stomach has finally begun to unravel. Ready? Daniel calls from the kitchen where he's washing our breakfast dishes. Almost. I smoothed down the emerald blouse I bought last week, color I've always loved but rarely wore. Too bold, Mom would say. Too attention-seeking. I catch my reflection in the hallway mirror and barely recognize the woman staring back. Not just the clothes or the more confident posture, but something in my eyes. The anxious, approval-seeking girl from my birthday morning has begun to fade. The thing about emotional neglect, Dr. Lewis says during our third session, is that it's characterized by what didn't happen. I nod, fingers twisting in my lap. That's why I doubted myself for so long. There were no dramatic fights, no obvious abuse, just absence. Consistent, reliable absence wherever my needs were concerned. And how does naming that feel? She leans forward slightly, her eyes kind behind practical glasses. Like I'm not crazy. My voice catches. Like I've been trying to solve a puzzle with missing pieces all my life. Later that week, I sit in a circle of strangers who quickly become anything but. Adult children of emotionally neglectful parents, the group is called. Their stories echo mine with unsettling familiarity. When my phone shows 3 missed calls from Mom after our group meeting, I delete the notifications without checking the voicemails. The guilt I expected doesn't come. At my desk that evening, I address Christmas cards, a task I've always handled for the entire family. This year, my list is shorter but more meaningful. Each name represents someone who's actually shown up for me. The stack for my parents and Jacob remains blank beside my pen. After a moment's consideration, I return them to their box. On my calendar, I've already marked next year's birthday not with expectations of others, but with plans for myself. Sunrise hike plus favorite bakery. I've written. A promise to celebrate regardless of who joins me. Your parents are telling everyone you abandoned the family after all they did for you. Aunt Meredith's text arrives on a Tuesday morning. I stare at it for a long moment before typing. They're entitled to their version of events. My thumb hovers over the send button before I add. I'm open to a relationship that includes mutual respect and honesty. 3 days later, Jacob's name appears on my screen for the first time since the confrontation. I didn't realize what they were doing to you. His message reads, I always thought you got the better deal because they left you alone while micromanaging me. I don't respond immediately. Healing isn't linear, and relationships can't be forced. But I save the message a small opening that might someday lead somewhere if he's willing to grow. From my parents, there's only deafening silence. No acknowledgement, no ownership, just the void I've always known, now honestly labeled. To the family we choose, I raise my glass, looking around my dining table at faces illuminated by candlelight. And the strength to choose ourselves first. Daniel's mother reaches over to squeeze my hand. His father beams from across the table. My college roommate clinks her glass against mine. The warmth in this room stands in stark contrast to that solitary birthday morning, just months ago. My eyes drift briefly to the empty chair I've left at the corner of the table. Not with desperate hope, but with peaceful acknowledgement that doors can remain unlocked without expecting anyone to walk through them. After dessert, I excuse myself briefly and slip into my office. The blog draft is nearly complete. Finding home. Healing from family estrangement. Comments have poured in from early readers, people who recognize their stories in mine. I glance at the letter I've written but haven't sent. I'm still here if you ever want to truly know me, it concludes. Maybe someday they'll be ready to read it. Maybe they won't. For now, I have this moment, this peace, this chosen family that loves without conditions or competition. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is rewrite your own story.
The sound of laughter fades around me as an eerie numbness spreads through my legs. One moment, I'm standing by the pool, fake smiling for my brother's birthday photo. The next, sensation vanishes below my waist. My mind registers the wrongness before my body can respond. Trent, I think something's... The words catch in my throat. My body crumples before I can finish the thought. The concrete edge of the pool rushes toward me with terrifying speed. The sickening crack of my head against stone echoes in my ears while the world tilts sideways. A strange detachment washes over me as I lie sprawled on the deck, unable to move my legs. The party continues around me, music thumping, glasses clinking, conversations flowing. No one has noticed. Or maybe they have, and they're choosing to ignore it. One second I was smiling for a picture with my brother. The next I'm on the ground, unable to move my legs, watching my family hesitate to help me. Hey, is she okay? Someone finally notices not family, but a stranger at the edge of the gathering. Blood pools beneath my head, warm and sticky against my cheek. I try to call out, but my voice emerges as a whimper. 3 days ago, my mother's voice had crackled through my phone with that familiar mixture of sweetness and steel. You need to be there for once, it's Trent's special day, and he specifically asked for you. I'd paced my small apartment, the phone pressed against my ear. 2 years of therapy had taught me about toxic family patterns, about the way obligation isn't the same as love. Doctor. Warner's gentle voice echoed in my mind. Family patterns don't change unless everyone wants them to change. Mom, I don't think... He's your brother, Bianca. Family shows up. So I showed up. Parked my car at the curb of my childhood home. Walked through the side gate to the backyard where Trent held court among his friends. Their laughter cut short when I approached, then resumed with renewed vigor. Remember when Bianca fell off the stage during the school play? One of Trent's friends called out, and the group erupted in laughter. I'd been pushed. We all knew it. But history gets rewritten when no one challenges the storyteller. After an hour of this, I decide I've fulfilled my obligation. My purse sits on a poolside chair, and I reach for it, mentally rehearsing my goodbye. My mother intercepts me, her perfectly manicured hand closing around my wrist. You're not leaving already, are you? We haven't even had cake. I have papers to grade, I lie. My student science projects are due Monday. Her lips purse. You always do this. One afternoon with your family is too much to ask? The guilt rises, familiar as an old sweater. Before I can respond, Trent appears beside her, his smile unexpectedly warm. Before you go, let's grab some cake, put frosting on each other's noses like when we were kids, he says, his tone lighter than I've heard in years. My hands steady as I set my purse back down. Maybe there's still a chance to connect, to bridge the gap that's grown between us. Sure, why not? I say, following him toward the cake table. Now I lie here, the world swimming above me as I struggle to move. Someone turns down the music. A circle of faces peers down, expressions ranging from curiosity to annoyance. No one kneels to help. Dad, I call out, spotting my father's loafers at the edge of my vision. I can't feel my legs. Harold Martin, retired military and perpetually disappointed father, bellows from somewhere above me. Walk it off, Bianca. You're embarrassing yourself. Pain radiates from the back of my head, but it's nothing compared to the cold realization spreading through me. They don't believe me. They never have. I need help, I say, my voice stronger now. Something's seriously wrong. My mother steps into view, her face a storm cloud. Why do you always have to make everything about you? You're ruining Trent's party. Blood continues pooling beneath my head. My vision blurs at the edges. Through the fog, I understand with sudden, terrible clarity. I could die here, on this concrete, while my family worries about the party atmosphere. Someone not family kneels beside me. Don't move her, they say. Call 911. I lock eyes with Trent, standing behind our mother. The smallest smile plays at the corner of his mouth, there and gone so quickly I might have imagined it. But I didn't cut of collar have. And now I know. The pool deck swims in and out of focus as paramedics swarm around me. Their voices drift through a haze of pain, professional and urgent. Ma'am, try to stay with us. A woman says, her gloved hands gentle but firm on my neck. Can you tell me your name? Bianca. I manage, my tongue feeling thick and foreign in my mouth. Bianca Martin. A second paramedic kneels at the edge of my peripheral vision. There's something here, he says, fingers touching the deck surface where I fell. This isn't water. He lifts his fingers, rubbing them together. It's oil. My heart stutters. Oil? Deliberate, the first paramedic says, voice dropping. She speaks into her radio, requesting police presence for a potential criminal incident. Through the fog of pain, I register a figure approaching a woman in uniform. Her badge catches the afternoon Sunday, Officer Martinez. She introduces herself, kneeling beside me as the paramedics work. I need to ask what happened while we wait for the ambulance. My mouth opens, but Trent's voice cuts through the yard before I can answer. It was an accident, he insists loudly. Bianca's always been clumsy. Officer Martinez looks directly at me, not at Trent. Is that accurate, Miss Martin? The paramedics slide a backboard beneath me, their movements precise. The world tilts as they secure my head, and I fight to stay conscious. The pain radiates from my skull in sickening waves. 1 minute I was standing, cake photo, then my legs just gave out, I whisper. From across the yard, I hear one of Trent's friends speaking to another officer. Their voice carries in the sudden quiet. It was supposed to be funny. Just a little slip, you know? Trent said it would be hilarious. My stomach lurches with something worse than pain. The cake, the unexpected warmth, the invitation to participate. It wasn't reconciliation, it was a setup. Tears mix with the blood cooling on my cheek, the betrayal registering more deeply than the physical injury. Officer Martinez notices. We'll sort this out, she promises quietly. Focus on staying awake for now. The ambulance ride passes in a blur of sirens and questions about my medical history. At the emergency room, fluorescent lights bore into my skull as doctors and nurses surround me. Harold stands against the wall, arms crossed over his chest, while Linda perches on a plastic chair, purse clutched in white-knuckled hands. Miss Martin. The doctor addresses me directly. Can you tell me about any previous head injuries? Harold steps forward before I can answer. She's fine. Just clumsy. Always has been. Dot. The doctor her name tag reads Dr. Wilson doesn't look at him. Miss Martin? She repeats. Fell off my bike as a kid, I say, my voice stronger now. Broke my arm when I was 12. Concussion in high school. Harold scoffs. Drama queen. It wasn't that serious. Dr. Wilson's expression doesn't change, but I notice how she positions herself between my father and me. The CT scan shows signs of previous trauma that appear inconsistent with the accidents in your records. Linda stands abruptly. What exactly are you implying? The medical team continues working around me, checking reflexes, pupil response, inserting an IV. A nurse gently cleans the wound at the back of my head. There's something else, the nurse says quietly to Dr. Wilson. These old injuries, the pattern suggests. That's enough, Harold interrupts. You people are overstepping. She tripped. End of story. Dr. Wilson steps closer to my bed, lowering her voice. Miss Martin, would you feel safe returning home after treatment? The question hangs in the air between us. My father's face darkens. She's always been clumsy, he announces to the room. Drama runs in her side of the family. The words slam into me harder than the concrete did. My side of the family. Even now, he's separating himself from me, marking me as other, as less than. Years of therapy crystallize into a single moment of clarity. This will never change. Doctor. Wilson returns with another doctor, their expressions grave. Miss Martin, the MRI shows severe damage to your spinal cord. She explains, showing me images I can barely comprehend. You'll need emergency surgery to prevent permanent paralysis. The word paralysis is echoes in the small room. My throat tightens. How soon? I ask. Within the hour, she answers. Every minute counts. My mother suddenly looks up from her phone. What about insurance? Do we need pre-approval for this? Harold, call the insurance company. Dr. Wilson's jaw tightens almost imperceptibly. We've already initiated the approval process, but this qualifies as emergency surgery. Harold paces the small space. These hospitals always rush into expensive procedures. Maybe we should get a second opinion. There isn't time, Dr. Wilson states flatly. Linda approaches my bed, her perfume washing over me in a sickening wave. She takes my hand, her wedding ring digging into my skin. Sweetheart, before you go into surgery, she whispers, leaning close, you should forgive Trent, just in case something happens. You wouldn't want to leave things unresolved. I stare at her, truly seeing her for the first time. Unresolved? My voice sounds strange to my own ears. Like the oil on the deck? Her eyes widen, then narrow. She squeezes my hand painfully tight. Accidents happen. A nurse appears with forms. Medical proxy designation, she explains, in case decisions need to be made while you're under anesthesia. I take the pen, my hand trembling slightly. Harold steps forward, reaching for the clipboard. I'll handle that. Number, the word comes out stronger than I expected. I'm designating Rachel Stevens as my medical proxy. My father's face flushes. Your college roommate? That's ridiculous. We're your parents. I sign the form, each letter a declaration of independence. When I finish, I feel lighter somehow, despite the pain radiating through my body. The door opens, and Officer Martinez enters. Her gaze sweeps the room before settling on me. Miss Martin, I wanted to update you before your surgery. We've taken statements from multiple witnesses, and charges will be filed against your brother and his friend for reckless endangerment. Harold moves toward her. Now wait just a minute. Sir, Martinez interrupts calmly. I suggest you focus on your daughter's recovery. The district attorney will contact you regarding the charges. As they wheel me towards surgery, a question surfaces through the haze of medication beginning to dull my senses. Should I push for the harshest possible charges against my own brother? Or is family reconciliation still possible? Pursuing justice would mean permanent family estrangement, but forgiveness without accountability seems like another form of self-betrayal. When the stakes involve your own family, how do you choose between justice and the possibility, however slim, of healing? A week later, after the surgery, the newspaper lands with a thud on my hospital tray. I don't need to read the headline. My mother's smug expression tells me everything. We wanted you to see it before someone else showed you, Linda says, smoothing her cardigan. People need to understand this was just an unfortunate accident. Harold stands behind her, arms crossed, jaw set in that familiar military stance. Your brother's future is at stake here, Bianca. This vindictive campaign of yours needs to stop. My fingers tremble as I scan the article. The words blur, then sharpen. Martin family, devastated by daughter's false accusations. A photo shows my parents looking appropriately distressed on our family porch, the American flag visible in the background. Trent stands slightly behind them, eyes downcast in practiced remorse. Vindictive? The word catches in my throat. He put oil on the deck. There are witnesses. Young people play pranks, my father says, waving his hand dismissively. Meanwhile, he's looking at serious charges while we're drowning in your medical bills. I notice the business card tucked in my father's shirt pocket. Silverman and Associates, the most expensive law firm in Portland. Funny how they can afford top-tier legal representation for Trent while questioning every charge on my hospital bill. After they leave, my phone lights up with notifications. Trent has launched his own social media offensive. Old photos of me with captions about my history of exaggerating injuries for attention. Former high school classmates pile on with laughing emojis and supportive comments. Aunt Carol texts, "Family stands together, Bianca. Drop this before you can't come back from it." Uncle Steve calls, his voicemail brimming with disappointment. "Your parents raised you better than this." I silence my phone and close my eyes, letting the pillow catch the tears I refuse to acknowledge. In days to come, the physical therapist counts aloud as I strain to lift my leg 3 inches off the mat. Sweat trickles down my temple, my teeth clenched against the scream building in my chest. "Good," she says, making a note on her clipboard. 2 more sets. Nobody witnesses these moments. The solitary battles fought between me and my rebellious limbs. No newspaper captures the victory of wiggling my toes after days of nothing. No social media documents the nights I wake up gasping from dreams of falling. Later, I sit alone in my hospital room, staring at my phone as Instagram serves me another memory. Trent's birthday last year. Friends I thought were mine comment beneath his latest post. "Always knew she was unstable. Stay strong, bro." The panic rises without warning. My chest tightens, breath coming in shallow gasps. I drop the phone like it's burned me, clawing at the sheets as the room spins. A nurse finds me 20 minutes later, still trembling. That night, I check my dwindling bank account. The insurance has denied another claim, citing contributory negligence based on statements from my parents. 3 months of savings gone in 3 weeks. 6 more physical therapy sessions until I max out my coverage. "We need to discuss your discharge plan," the social worker says the following morning. "Your apartment lease ends next month, correct? With those stairs, it won't be suitable given your mobility challenges." I nod numbly, another problem to solve alone. My birthday passes unmarked. No cards, no calls from family. I try not to notice, but the silence rings louder than any celebration could. "What are you doing?" Doctor. Carter's voice startles me as I struggle to position my phone against the water pitcher, attempting to capture the sunset through my window. I quickly grab the phone, embarrassed. Nothing. Just. He studies me for a moment, then disappears. I assume he's gone for good, but he returns minutes later with a small tripod. Your recovery story deserves to be properly documented, he says with a gentle smile, placing it beside my bed. The light's better from this angle. The unexpected kindness leaves me speechless. My first steps with the walker come a week later. The corridor stretches before me like a marathon track, as I grip the handles, knuckles white with determination. Each shuffling movement sends lightning bolts of pain up my spine. I'm halfway down the hallway when I spot them, Linda and Harold, approaching from the elevator. They haven't seen me yet. I consider turning back, but stubbornness roots me in place. Bianca. My mother's voice carries down the corridor. Her eyes widen as she takes in my hospital gown and unwashed hair. You're not even trying to look presentable. No wonder you're still single. I feel the familiar flinch, the automatic apology forming on my lips. Before I can speak, my father steps forward. We need to talk sense into you, he says, lowering his voice to that commanding tone that once made me tremble. Family protects family. This is embarrassing for all of us. Drop the charges against your brother. The fluorescent lights buzz overhead. A nurse watches from her station, concern evident in her frown. Family protects family? The words rise from somewhere deep and previously untapped. When have you ever protected me? Their silence confirms what I've always known. I adjust my grip on the walker and push forward, advancing one excruciating step at a time. For the first time in my life, I don't stop for their response. I don't turn back to gauge their reaction. Their approval no longer matters as much as the next step, and the next, and the next. That evening, Dr. Carter brings news of a specialist in Seattle. He's pioneering a technique that might help with your particular injury. I've sent him your scans. My former roommate Rachel calls the next day. I found you a place, she says without preamble. First-floor apartment near the rehabilitation center. Fully accessible bathroom, wide doorways. My brother's a contractor. He'll install grab bars this weekend. These people focus on what I need, not how I look or what I've done wrong. They offer solutions, not judgment. They show up when it matters. I begin keeping meticulous records, photographs of my progress, journal entries detailing setbacks and small victories, documentation of each medical expense. The attorney who contacts me after seeing my parents' newspaper interview calls it building a case. Your story resonated with me, she says, sliding her card across the table. I'd like to take this on pro bono. I'm reviewing her paperwork when my phone rings with an unfamiliar number. The voice on the other end is professionally detached. Miss Martin, this is Adrian Lewis from the county courthouse. I'm calling to inform you that Harold and Linda Martin have filed for emergency guardianship, claiming you're mentally unfit to make your own medical decisions. The papers hit my lap as the blood drains from my face. The war has officially begun. On confrontation day, the manila folder in my lap holds 3 months of my life reduced to medical jargon and legal terminology. My attorney, Sophia Winters, reviews our strategy one final time as we wait outside the courtroom. The dark wood benches feel cold beneath my hands as I mentally catalog the evidence we've assembled. We've got your complete medical history, Sophia says, tapping a section of the folder with her pen. Dr. Carter's testimony about your rehabilitation progress. Rachel's daily logs documenting your self-sufficiency. Will it be enough? I ask, gripping my cane tighter. More than enough. Sophia's confidence steadies me. Judge Pearson has already raised questions about your parents' petition. Their claim that you're mentally unfit for medical decisions contradicts your doctor's professional assessment. Judge. I've spent weeks gathering evidence, progress notes from therapy sessions, documentation of previous injuries, even photographs marking milestones in my recovery. Each paper represents a small victory against the family narrative that has controlled my life. The courtroom doors open. My parents enter with their attorney, a silver-haired man whose tailored suit screams expensive. Mom catches my eye but quickly looks away, adjusting her pearl necklace. Dad stands tall, jaw set in the same expression I've seen countless times before disappointment lectures. When the bailiff calls our case, I rise slowly, determined to walk without assistance despite the pain shooting through my lower back. Sophia carries our materials as we approach the front of the courtroom. Judge Pearson, a woman with salt and pepper hair and penetrating eyes, reviews the guardianship petition with obvious skepticism. Mrs. Martin. She addresses my mother. You claim your daughter has exhibited lifelong instability, making her unfit to manage her medical decisions. Can you elaborate? My mother's attorney steps forward, presenting a thick folder. Your Honor, we've compiled medical records dating back to Miss Martin's childhood showing a pattern of concerning behavior and frequent injuries. I tense, recognizing their strategy. They're using my own history against me. The judge pages through the records, her expression darkening. These injuries, a broken arm at 7, concussion at 10, fractured ribs at 13, have inconsistent explanations. My father shifts uncomfortably in his seat. Your Honor, Sophia interjects, those records actually support our position. The pattern reveals injuries inconsistent with the accidents described. Miss Martin wasn't unstable. She was a child suffering repeated unexplained injuries while in her parents' care. The courtroom air grows thick with tension. My mother's face pales as the judge continues examining the records with growing concern. A commotion at the back of the courtroom draws everyone's attention. Trent strides down the center aisle, his confidence filling the space. Your Honor, my parents' attorney announces. We call Trent Martin as a character witness. My brother takes the stand, straightening his tie before raising his right hand for the oath. His testimony flows with practiced ease. Bianca has always sought attention through exaggeration, he explains. Even as children, she'd embellish minor scrapes into major injuries. Mr. Martin, the judge interrupts, are you familiar with the police report from the deck incident at your birthday party? Trent hesitates. Generally speaking, yes. Then you're aware it documents a deliberately placed oil slick where your sister fell? The judge holds up the report. And witness statements confirming you invited her to that exact location moments before her fall? The confidence drains from Trent's face. There must be some misunderstanding. Indeed, Judge Pearson says. She turns to my parents' attorney. These medical records don't demonstrate Miss Martin's instability. They raise serious questions about her childhood environment. I'm dismissing this guardianship petition and ordering a full investigation into the family history. The gavel strikes with finality. My legs nearly buckle with relief as Sophia steadies me with a gentle hand on my elbow. Outside the courtroom, Sophia mentions something that stops me cold. We could countersue for medical costs and emotional damages, she suggests. The evidence is strong. I stare at my parents' retreating backs as they hurry down the corridor, heads bent in urgent conversation. Would pursuing financial compensation bring actual closure? Or would setting firm boundaries without further legal action be the healthier path forward? Before I can answer, my phone buzzes with a message from Dr. Carter. He's found a specialized rehabilitation program focusing on trauma recovery. The program addresses both physical and emotional healing. Exactly what I need. Later that week, Rachel organizes a small fundraiser among our college friends. To help with ongoing medical expenses, she explains over coffee in my accessible apartment. Everyone wants to contribute. My physical therapist, Jason, develops a customized recovery plan, acknowledging both injuries, the visible spinal damage, and the invisible emotional wounds. Your progress is remarkable, he notes during our session 3 months later. Moving from walker to cane in this time frame exceeds our predictions. That evening, I notice a newspaper on my kitchen counter. Rachel must have left it there. A headline catches my eye. Questions raised about Martin family's claims and guardianship case. The following day, my cousin Elaine calls, the first family member besides my parents or Trent to reach out since the accident. I've always suspected something wasn't right, she admits quietly. The way Uncle Harold would explain away your injuries. 3 more relatives call that week with similar messages. When the letter arrives from my family's attorney suggesting private mediation to resolve matters within the family, I place it on my desk next to my progress photos. For the first time, I have leverage they can't dismiss. 3 days later, the family attorney's office smells like leather and false promises. Harold sits with his shoulders squared, military posture intact despite the circumstances. Linda perches beside him, fingers nervously adjusting her pearl necklace every few seconds. Trent lounges in his chair, rehearsed contrition painted across his face. I grip my cane tighter, feeling the smooth wood against my palm. Dr. Carter insisted on coming with me but waits outside at my request. This confrontation belongs to me alone. Bianca? Harold begins, voice artificially warm. We've put together a reasonable offer. His forced smile doesn't reach his eyes. We'll cover your remaining medical expenses if you drop all charges against Trent. Linda leans forward, tears welling perfectly on cue. We're still a family, sweetheart. Don't you remember the good times at all? Their attorney slides a document across the polished table. This agreement releases Trent from all criminal liability while ensuring your medical needs are addressed. Trent finally speaks, words flowing with practiced sincerity. I never meant for you to get seriously hurt by. You know that, right? Pursuing this further will destroy the family forever, Harold adds, voice hardening. Is that what you want? I let silence fill the room for several heartbeats. The ticking of the wall clock marks time as I reach for my messenger bag, retrieving a thick manila folder. I'm not here to negotiate, I say, laying the folder on the table. I'm here to inform you of the consequences of your choices. I open the folder and place my doctor's prognosis on top. I'll never run again. I'll always have nerve pain down my left side. I may need a cane for the rest of my life. Next come the photographs, hundreds documenting my recovery. Me in the hospital bed, tubes snaking from my body. Me struggling through first steps in physical therapy, face contorted in agony. Me falling during rehabilitation, knees bloodied on the training room floor. This is what happened after your harmless prank. I slide forward the insurance denials. These were rejected because Harold told them my injury was self-inflicted. The bank statements follow. My life savings, gone. My career advancement, halted. My apartment, lost. Linda's hand flutters to her mouth. Bianca, please. I'm not finished. My voice cuts through her interruption. I push my chair back and stand, my legs trembling with effort but holding firm. For the first time since the injury, I stand without assistance, my cane resting against the table. I don't need your money. The prosecutor has everything needed to pursue maximum charges. The civil suit against your homeowner's insurance is proceeding separately. Harold's face darkens. You ungrateful. Save it for court, I say, gathering my documents. You'll need better material than that for the judge. 2 weeks later, I stand before a different audience. The courtroom feels cavernous, despite being only half filled with spectators. Trent sits at the defense table, staring at his hands. Harold and Linda occupy the front row of the gallery, their expressions stony. When the judge calls me forward for my victim impact statement, I rise steadily. My recovery has progressed enough that I walk with only a slight limp, though the cane remains a necessary companion. The oil on that deck didn't just break my body. I begin, looking directly at my family. It revealed what was already broken in our family. I gesture to the easel beside me, where my attorney displays 2 photographs. The first shows me at age 8, arm in a makeshift splint after falling from a tree. The second shows me at 10, with a suspicious bruise pattern on my back after tumbling downstairs. These aren't isolated incidents, they're a pattern. I turn to face Trent directly. A pattern where my pain was someone else's entertainment. Trent's eyes remain fixed on the floor, unable to meet mine. The physical injuries will heal, eventually, but the knowledge that my family chose to protect my abuser, rather than help me recover, that doesn't heal so easily. The judge leans forward, her gaze intense. Miss Martin, these childhood injuries, were they reported properly at the time? No, Your Honor. My parents insisted on home treatment for most of them. The judge makes a note, her expression grave. This pattern of concerning family dynamics will be taken into consideration during sentencing. Harold shifts uncomfortably in his seat. Linda dabs at dry eyes with a tissue. The verdict comes swiftly. Trent receives a felony conviction with 3 years probation and 500 hours of community service at a spinal injury rehabilitation center. The judge orders him to pay partial restitution, though the amount hardly touches my actual expenses. Furthermore, the judge continues, I'm referring this case to Family Services for investigation into potential medical neglect dating back to Miss Martin's childhood, and the insurance fraud allegations will be forwarded to the appropriate authorities. I feel nothing as the gavel strikes, not satisfaction, not vindication, just a profound exhaustion mingled with something that might eventually become peace. Outside on the courthouse steps, I pause to adjust my grip on my cane. The spring sunlight feels warm on my face after months of fluorescent hospital lighting. At the bottom of the steps, Dr. Carter waits beside his car, a gentle smile crossing his face when our eyes meet. He doesn't rush to help me navigate the stairs, understanding that each step I take alone represents a victory. The pending insurance settlement might restore my financial security, but money can't buy back what I've truly gained, the knowledge that I can stand on my own, in every sense that matters. I take each step carefully toward my future, leaving family behind but not alone. A year later, the morning light streams through the wide windows of my new home, casting golden patterns across the hardwood floors designed for wheelchair accessibility. I no longer need the chair, though the permanent limp remains a badge of survival rather than a mark of weakness. My walls tell the story that my family refused to acknowledge, large framed photographs documenting every step of my recovery journey, from hospital bed to standing unassisted. I adjust the position of my newest print, a self-portrait taken at physical therapy, and realize I haven't asked anyone's permission or braced for criticism. The thought brings a smile to my face. 6 months ago, I would have texted my mother before hanging even a small picture, anticipating her comments about ruining the walls or drawing attention to my problems. My phone buzzes with a text from Jason, my student from the trauma survivors photography class I teach at the community center. His latest assignment shows remarkable progress, both in composition and in his willingness to be visible in the frame. Teaching others to document their healing has become an unexpected joy, a purpose born from pain. I move through my morning routine with a steadiness that still surprises me. The doctors said I might never walk without assistance, but here I am, navigating my kitchen with only the occasional support from countertops. My body remembers the fall, but it no longer defines me. The mail slot rattles, and I retrieve an envelope with familiar handwriting. Aunt Patty, my mother's sister. Inside is an invitation to the annual Martin family Thanksgiving gathering, complete with a handwritten note, "We miss you. Everyone's asking about you." The old guilt rises like a tide, but unlike before, it recedes just as quickly. I place the invitation on my kitchen counter, untroubled by the decision I've already made. An hour later, I compose a simple response. "Thank you for thinking of me. I won't be attending." No excuses, no long explanations. The freedom of this simplicity feels like taking a full breath after years of shallow breathing. Instead, I finalize plans for my own gathering, Rachel arriving from Seattle, Matthew bringing his famous apple pie, Jason and 3 other students from my photography class completing our circle. My chosen family, built on trust, rather than obligation. When Thursday arrives, my small dining table overflows with mismatched dishes and genuine laughter. Rachel tells stories about our college adventures while Matthew's hand occasionally finds mine beneath the table. The warmth between us has grown slowly, cautiously, both of us understanding the value of boundaries and the courage it takes to lower them deliberately. "I'd like to make a toast," I say, raising my glass as conversation quiets. "To the family we choose and the strength we find when we stop accepting the unacceptable." Rachel clinks her glass against mine, eyes bright with pride. "To Bianca, who taught me more about courage than anyone I know." Later, after plates are cleared and coffee is poured, Matthew presents me with a leather-bound album. "We've been collecting these for months," he says, his doctor's hand surprisingly gentle as he passes it to me. The cover reads, "The Real Family Album." Inside are photographs from my hospital stay, rehabilitation sessions, and first-day teaching moments captured by friends who showed up when my blood relatives wouldn't. The images tell a story of presence, not absence. "1 year ago today," Matthew says, his voice soft but steady, "I brought you a tripod in the hospital. I never could have imagined how far you'd come." The following week brings the culmination of months of work, the opening night of my exhibition, The Fall and Rise, at the local gallery. Standing at the entrance without my cane, I capture a self-portrait using the timer on my camera. Behind me, the wall displays my journey in chronological order: hospital bed, first steps with the walker, courtroom testimony, teaching my first class. Beside my exhibition photos hangs the acceptance letter for the trauma counseling certification program I'll begin next month, and details of the foundation for spinal injury patients that my settlement money established. As visitors move through the gallery, I watch their reactions to my most painful and triumphant moments displayed side by side. The question I've framed on the final wall seems to pause everyone who reads it. Is it better to maintain peace with family at any cost, or to demand accountability even when it means walking away from blood ties? What would you choose if preserving your dignity meant losing your family? I don't have a perfect answer, but I do have my truth captured in light and shadow, hanging for all to see.